And then the doorbell rings. I am sweat, skin and pulse throbbing. It takes me a moment to recollect where I am. I lift my torso up. It hovers through the air and my ears prick. The doorbells ring. The doorbell rings again. I glide through to the living room and turn off the music. The doorbell again. Checking my watch, I suddenly remember the date. Coming! 1 second! A lull. I experience the silence like a trough. My face tingles and my womb feels warm, expansive. My fingers choose Purcell's Welcome to All the Pleasures. Matthew, come in. I'm sorry. I fix my hair as I let him through. Purcell? I nod. Matthew pushes his hands together at his knuckles as though he might crack them, but does not. Coffee? He nods. Let's go through. Take your coat off. He hesitates and looks around the hallway for a sign that it's the best thing to do. He takes off his corduroy flat cap first, and then his double-breasted peacoat, hangs it over his left arm. New lines, as though crows like to dance on his face. He sits on one of the high butcher-block stools and sighs. We tumble into a mutual moment of listening. Everything since we last were together seeps from us and into the other. The female voice trills through the room before fading. These are the sacred charms that shield. Matthew, dressed in grey school shorts and maroon sweatshirt, wearing his red shoes. He must have red shoes. If Hebe has a red coat, I should be allowed my red shoes. Mother fades into a gloom before I recall what she says. Nature rejoicing, as sure as the wind. Painted from oil, his young face is older, then older. The smoke moves like dark clouds behind him. He suddenly seems like a soldier on a battlefield, patches of red painted onto the black smoke, rejoicing. Gunshots or clanks of armour, gratitude for a brother. See nature rejoicing. Hebe? I blink. His face seems like terracotta. I shake my head and laugh a little, some water welling up in my head, behind my eyes, my nose, a tremble in my lips. Hebe? Sorry. Is everything okay? Yes. I nod with certainty. Yes. I just love Purcell. I smile a crooked smile. He bought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse. See nature rejoicing. I shake my head, dog-like. Some sweat flicks free, falls onto the marble kitchen top, and the kettle boils. See nature rejoicing. Matthew watches me, so I look back. There is nothing behind the lines. The crows have embossed him with superficial signs of ageing, but there is no bursting dam water to fill the crags. The trumpets kick in. There's always the trumpets. Since she left him for being boring, so he says, boring and miserable, obsessed with model ships. She could not stand his alphabetical collection of movies, his perfectly kept basil plant under 24/7 fake light. She could not stand his politics. He was filled with hatred and contempt, she said, filled with bitterness and resentment, she said. You did not see those things at the time. You saw your brother as a boy with a fishing net, catching crabs with salt in his hair and holes in his trousers, grazes on his elbows. The trumpets float and merge with the sound of pouring water. Alone now he had been for so long. Months. Or was it years? Could easily be either. When did you last see her? Yesterday. And how are you? He nods and looks down at his hands. Suddenly, bright Cecilia begins, and I blink, taken aback. Good. You think she's... I do. I see a shadowy figure, cloaked and hooded. He's hungry, and he's floating towards us in the half-light of her hospice room. What is that, a dream? More like a memory. I half smile as though I've made a joke. Matthew looks aghast, so I swallow and shake my head instead. No, a dream. Sort of a daydream. He itches his cheek with the back of his hand to heaven. He never lets his palms face the sky. Keeps the palms dry at all times. Nice coffee. Conrad's. He nods. Where is he? And Arabella? Conrad is away writing. Belle is with Freddie. Does Freddie see a lot of Belle? It takes me by surprise. The tone of intrigue is tinged with something else that tasted more than sounded familiar. It tasted like the lemon grove and cypress, Grandma and Grandpa walking through the lines of trees, and us looking down from the balcony as dawn tickled red across the farm. It tasted like the mornings there after hours of mosquito bites and unbearable heat. It tasted like the stories I would read aloud to help him sleep. Good night, moon. Good night, room. Good night, nobody. Good night, mush. It tasted like a gaping hole of misunderstandings and misgivings, and good night to the old lady, whispering hush. Matthew suddenly rises and takes an envelope from his pocket. He passes 2 cards to me, one in a light blue envelope, the other in a pink one. What are these? One for you, one for Belle. He pauses. I have a present for Belle too, but it's something I need to take her to. I nod and shake my head, searching for direction, much how Conrad tries to orientate himself. I pause before nodding again. It's from the Metropolitan. Yes, that's perfect, thank you. Malahoi Penentre. Portrait de Mademoiselle Janine Farilli. Hail, hail, with love of these and thy celestial art. It always reminds me of you. You loved it when growing up. I nod and bite my bottom lip, slanting my head. I try to remember what it is about. About her. Though it all seems malleable, as though it were not final, more like a mist. Hark, hark, each tree its silence breaks. Do you still have the coat? I slant my head back the other way, and biting my bottom lip, I my brother as though he is stupid. The coat? Oh, you mean... Well, where exactly are you living? Soho. Still? Yep, I see. And that's good, is it? Good. And Holly? Holly? That was years ago. So it was years.